Welcome to RWG Publishing, and welcome to this custom deep dive, designed just for you.
Great to be here.
Today, we're exploring something really quite forward-looking. It's a book called The Freedom Frontier, Positive Audits and Real-World Rights by Bill Vincent.
It really is. And what strikes you right away is how Vincent frames freedom. It's not static, not some destination you arrive at.
Right.
He calls it an uncharted territory, constantly expanding. Think of it like a frontier where we're always redefining justice, accountability, human dignity.
So it's always moving, always evolving.
Exactly. It exists wherever societies are actively trying to balance, the big ideals of rights with the messy realities of power, tech, progress, all that.
That's a really dynamic way to put it. So how do we navigate this frontier? The book seems to offer some specific tools, right?
Absolutely. Right at the heart of it are two, I think, really transformative concepts. The first one is positive audits.
Positive audits. Okay, that sounds different from what I usually think of as an audit.
It is. These aren't about looking back, finding errors, assigning blame after the fact. They're designed to be proactive.
Proactive how?
Like systems built specifically to ensure transparency, fairness, and progress going forward. It kind of flips the script on accountability. The goal is building trust, collaboration, not just catching rule breakers.
Interesting. Okay, so that's one pillar. What's the other?
The second is real-world rights. This is crucial. It's about moving beyond just, beautifully written declarations of rights.
The theoretical stuff.
Exactly. It focuses on the practical, actionable freedoms people actually experience day to day. How rights make a tangible difference in communities. Real, lived experience.
Got it. So positive audits are the mechanism, and real-world rights are the goal, in a sense.
That's a good way to think about it.
Okay, so for this deep dive, our mission is basically to unpack how these two ideas work together, how they form this dynamic, inclusive approach to freedom.
Right. And why it's so essential now, with all the rapid change, environmental issues, inequality, all the big challenges we face.
We're looking for that roadmap, really, to bridge the gap between the ideals we talk about and the freedom people actually live. Sounds fascinating. Where do we start?
Well, to really grasp the freedom frontier, we need a bit of context on how rights themselves evolved. It's quite a journey.
Right, they didn't just appear fully formed.
Not at all. Think way back, Hammurabi's Code, like 1754 BCE Babylon. It had a basic eye for an eye fairness idea, but it also cemented huge social divides.
Okay.
Or ancient Athens pioneering civic participation for its time, sure. But it left out women, slaves, foreigners. Huge parts of the population.
So always progress, but always limitations, too.
Definitely. Then you have Roman natural law, religious ethical frameworks adding layers. But the big shift arguably comes with the Enlightenment.
Locke, Rousseau, those guys.
Exactly. John Locke's ideas, life, liberty, property, those were revolutionary. They directly fed into things like the U.S. Declaration of Independence, the French Declaration of the Rights of Man.
Foundational documents.
Absolutely foundational. But even then, there were massive contradictions. Slavery existed alongside calls for liberty. Suffrage was incredibly limited.
The ideals were there, but the application lagged way behind.
Precisely. Then the 20th century, particularly after the horrors of two world wars, brought a real push for global standards. That led to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UDHR, in 1948.
A global benchmark.
A crucial one. But, as Vincent points out in the book, declaring rights even universally is only step one. Making them real for everyone, everywhere, consistently, that's the ongoing challenge.
And that's where this audit imperative you mentioned comes in. It's the mechanism to check if rights are actually being delivered.
You got it. Audits, at their core, are about checking things, about accountability, and they're ancient, too.
Oh, yeah. How far back?
Mesopotamia, 3500 BCE clay tablets tracking grain and livestock. Ancient Egypt, scribes managing massive projects like the pyramids. Medieval guilds auditing trade practices for fairness. It's always been about oversight.
So auditing isn't new. What changed?
Industrialization, big corporations, and inevitably big scandals. South Sea bubble. Crashes leading to the Great Depression, much later things like Enron. These drove the need for more formal, systematic auditing. Think SEC, Sarbanes-Oxley.
Right, regulations born out of crisis. But those sound mostly reactive, like you said before, catching problems after they happen.
Exactly the point. And this is where Vincent makes the pivot to positive audits. It's a fundamental shift in thinking.
Okay, break that down. What makes them positive?
Well, first, they're proactive. They're designed to anticipate risks, yes, but also to identify opportunities for improvement before things go wrong. It fosters a culture of getting better, not just avoiding punishment.
So less gotcha, more how can we do better?
Precisely. Second, they're designed to be inclusive. They actively bring in different voices, employees, customers, community members, civil society groups. It's not just top down.
Like participatory budgeting. Is that an example?
That's a perfect example. Citizens getting directly involved in monitoring how public money is used. It builds accountability from the ground up.
Okay, proactive, inclusive. What else?
They're forward-looking. The focus is on improvement, innovation, long-term health. Think about ESG audits. Environmental, social, governance.
Right, pushing companies on sustainability ethics.
Exactly. Companies like Patagonia or Unilever use these kinds of audits to drive positive change, not just meet minimum legal standards.
And technology must play a big part now.
Huge. They are tech-enabled. You can use blockchain for supply chains, imagine, an unchangeable record showing where your coffee came from. Or AI analyzing data in real time to spot red flags much faster than any human could.
Wow. Okay.
So this whole shift, proactive, inclusive, forward-looking, tech-enabled, that's the core of positive audits. It's about rebuilding trust and driving real positive change systemically.
That makes a lot of sense. It connects back to making those real-world rights actually happen. Let's get into that connection more. How does this play out, say, with economic rights?
Yeah, economic rights are fundamental, right? Food, shelter, healthcare, education, fair pay. The basics. The book traces these back to labor movements fighting terrible conditions during the Industrial Revolution.
And international agreements pick those up.
They did. UDHR Article 23 talks about the right to work, fair conditions. Then you have the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, the ICESCR, which goes deeper.
But we still see huge inequalities, pay gaps, exploitation.
Exactly. And that's where positive audits become a powerful tool in practice. They don't just state the right exists, they actively monitor and push for change.
How so? Give me an example.
Okay, think about the garment industry. Organizations like the Fairwear Foundation conduct audits to check if factories are actually following labor laws, treating workers fairly. That's a positive audit in action.
I see. Checking compliance, but also pushing for better standards.
Right. Or look at supply chains. There's a group called Fairchain using blockchain for coffee. It connects consumers directly to farmers, ensuring the farmer gets a fair price. That transparency is enabled by a kind of tech-driven audit.
That's really concrete. What about within companies themselves?
Yeah, good point. Salesforce, for example, famously used internal audits to identify and correct gender and racial pay gaps within their own workforce. That's taking proactive responsibility.
And on a larger scale.
The book highlights the Nordic model: Sweden, Norway, Denmark. They managed to combine free markets with really strong social safety nets.
High equality, good living standards.
And a big part of that is rigorous auditing, transparency through things like Freedom of Information Acts, and strong unions holding companies and government accountable. It shows how these systems can support widespread economic well-being.
Okay, that covers the economic sphere. What about the digital world? That feels like a huge frontier right now.
Absolutely massive. The book stresses that our digital lives are just an extension of our physical lives now. Our rights need protection there, too. Privacy, free expression, access to information, these are core to dignity today.
But the challenges are enormous. State surveillance.
Huge. Edward Snowden's revelations showed the scale of government data collection. Or look at China's social credit system that's comprehensive digital control.
And corporations, they're vacuuming up data, too.
Definitely. The Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal was a wake-up call about how personal data can be weaponized, essentially, to manipulate people. Serious threats.
So how can positive audits possibly tackle something that vast and, frankly, often hidden?
It's tough, but the principles apply. For governments, positive audits mean things like independent oversight bodies having real teeth to check surveillance programs, ensuring compliance with data protection laws like GDPR in Europe.
The GDPR sets pretty strict rules, right?
Very strict. Audits verify that those rules are being followed. For companies, it means audits checking their data practices are ethical, are algorithms biased, is misinformation being amplified. Positive audits can look into that.
And technology again. Can tech audit tech?
It has to, really. Using blockchain to create verifiable logs of data access. Using AI to detect privacy violations or discriminatory patterns in algorithms much faster. But the key, again, is inclusivity.
Meaning?
Meaning users and civil society need to be involved in auditing these systems. It can't just be the creators checking their own homework, empowering people to understand and question the tech that shapes their lives.
That makes sense. It gives people agency in this digital frontier.
Huh.
Okay, this is fascinating stuff. The ideas in the Freedom Frontier really do feel like a potential roadmap. If you're listening and finding these insights as compelling as we are, and you want to get the full picture from Bill Vincent himself, we definitely encourage you to check out the book. You can find The Freedom Frontier on Amazon. Just follow the link in our show notes.
So, picking up on that, let's move into part 3, building and shaping the future. The book doesn't just diagnose the problem. It offers practical steps on how to build these positive audit systems.
The how-to part.
Yeah.
Okay, what are the core principles for designing them?
It boils down to those 3 we mentioned: proactivity, inclusivity, and transparency. Those have to be baked in from the start.
And the steps. How do you actually build one?
Well, first, define clear goals. What exactly are you trying to achieve with this audit? Then, critically, engage stakeholders right from the beginning.
Not just at the end to see the report.
No. From design through data collection, analysis, reporting, everyone affected needs a voice. That builds buy-in, makes the audit relevant.
Makes sense. Then what?
Then you leverage technology and data. Use the right tools, AI, blockchain, data analytics, to make the audit effective and efficient. After that, you implement it systematically, collect the data, analyze it rigorously.
And the final step must be crucial.
Absolutely. Follow up. Don't just issue a report that gathers dust. Track progress on recommendations. Ensure changes actually happen. It has to be a continuous improvement loop.
That sounds great in theory, but what about the real-world hurdles? Resistance, lack of resources.
Oh, the book tackles those head-on. Resistance from powerful groups. Yes, that happens. The answer often lies in advocacy, building coalitions, and clearly showing the benefits of the business case for transparency, for instance.
And resources. These sound expensive.
They can be, but technology can actually lower costs sometimes, and participatory audits involving the community can leverage local knowledge and manpower, reducing reliance on costly external experts.
What about cultural barriers? People just not used to this level of openness.
That requires shifting mindsets. Pilot projects can help demonstrate the value. Success stories build momentum. Vincent frames these challenges not as stop signs, but as opportunities to innovate and engage people more deeply.
I like that framing. It's about overcoming, not giving up. So we have the systems. How do we make sure individuals and communities are empowered to actually use them, to claim their rights on this frontier?
That's vital. The book really celebrates the power of grassroots movements. It reminds us that rights historically haven't just been granted from on high. They've been claimed by ordinary people organizing.
Like the civil rights movement.
Exactly. Or environmental justice campaigns, workers' rights movements, more recently things like Black Lives Matter or #MeToo. These show collective action is how real change often happens. People demand their rights.
So how do we foster that kind of empowerment today?
The book outlines several strategies. First, education and awareness. People need to know their rights to claim them. There's a great example from India, Mazdur Kisan Shakti Sangathan, or MKSS.
What do?
They literally teach people in rural villages about things like minimum wage laws, freedom of information laws, basic rights they might not even know they have. Knowledge is power.
Definitely. What else?
Providing accessible tools. Think of platforms like Ushahidi, which started in Kenya. It lets people report violence or rights abuses using their basic mobile phones. Simple tech, huge impact.
Putting the tools in people's hands.
Exactly. And third, mentorship and leadership development. Supporting emerging leaders, especially from marginalized communities. The Young Women's Leadership Initiative in South Africa is mentioned as an example, building the next generation of advocates.
And connecting this back to audits, community involvement is key there too.
Absolutely essential. It builds trust, ensures the audit reflects local realities, gives people ownership. We talked about participatory budgeting. Porto Alegre in Brazil is a classic example. New York City has programs too. Citizens directly overseeing public money.
Any other examples?
Community-led environmental monitoring, like indigenous ranger groups in Australia using their traditional knowledge alongside scientific methods to audit the health of protected lands. That's powerful stuff, real-world rights and community auditing combined.
It really brings it all together. Okay, one last major piece. Technology. We've touched on it, but the book sees it as both a tool and a potential threat, right?
Very much so. Technology can empower us incredibly, but it can also be used to control, surveil, and undermine freedom. The focus in the Freedom Frontier is squarely on harnessing the positive potential. How do we make tech serve the public good?
And audits are key to that.
Tech-driven audits become critical. We need ways to monitor if technology is meeting ethical standards, if it's creating unacceptable risks.
Like AI bias.
Exactly. Using AI audits to detect bias in algorithms used for hiring or loan applications or even criminal justice before they perpetuate discrimination. Or using blockchain, as we said, for transparent ethical supply chains, proving that cobalt wasn't mined by children, for instance.
So auditing the tech itself for its impact.
Yes, and ensuring those audits are inclusive. Empowering users and civil society groups to scrutinize surveillance tech and to demand accountability for how AI systems are built and used. The big takeaway is, technology's impact isn't predetermined. It depends entirely on how we design it, deploy it, and govern it ethically. We have choices to make.
That's a really crucial point. It's not just happening to us.
So stepping back, what does this all add up to? This vision of the freedom frontier? It's not some far-off dream. Vincent argues it's a tangible possibility.
A world where these positive audits and real-world rights are just normal, part of how society works.
Exactly, where transparency, accountability, equity aren't just buzzwords, but lived realities embedded in our systems.
But it's not a final destination, you said earlier.
No, definitely not. It's an ongoing journey. It needs constant vigilance, adapting to new challenges, being willing to question how things are done, to push that frontier forward.
And the call to action here isn't just for governments or big companies.
Not at all. The book makes it clear. This is a call to action for you, for everyone listening. We all have a role.
How so?
Demanding accountability from leaders, sure, but also participating in your local community, advocating for reforms you believe in, even just living by principles of transparency and fairness in your own life. The tools, the frameworks that Vincent lays out, they're there for us to use. There's a line near the end of the book that really captures it. Vincent writes, "The frontier awaits. Let us step into it with courage, determination, and hope. For freedom is not a gift to be given. It is a right to be claimed, a responsibility to be upheld, and a journey to be embraced."
That's powerful. A responsibility and a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, if it's inspired you, please do consider leaving a review for the book on Amazon or Goodreads. And again, you can find The Freedom Frontier by Bill Vincent using the link right there in our show notes to continue exploring these really vital ideas.
It's definitely worth the read.
Thank you for listening to the Deep Dive Podcast.